Sure, absolutely. I would say if you have connections with universities, that's one of the best places to go. I'd hit like IEEE. If you, I'm assuming you probably know what that is, the electrical engineering group. I'd hit, oh geez, student organizations that advocate space, whether or space, energy, science, technology, physics, chemistry, all the sciences, all the student groups, because those student groups have to have a faculty leader to kind of manage them. Even though the student group itself probably runs itself completely and the faculty member is kind of off to the side and doesn't do a whole lot, still they have to have one in most cases. I don't know of a university that doesn't have that, but I would assume most do. And so you would be able to then get in contact with that university professor who can then talk to the other students. And then those university professors might have other connections. It's all about networking. But here's what I would say. I would I would not, how do I say this? I would not approach them with the doom and gloom, the world is falling apart, what I call the Peter Joseph method of approaching people with money sucks and the world is crashing and we're consuming too much and all that. I mean, eh, as far as I'm concerned, that's negative advertising and it doesn't do us a lot of good. What you can do for these kinds of people, for the techies, is approach them with the Venus Project city design and say, we are an organization that is trying to build a large scale research facility and we would like your input, your opinion, your ideas, your whatever, your involvement if it ever comes about. I would start promoting what we're really trying to build. Scientists and engineers, whether they're chemists or whatever, are more interested in things they can really do than theoretical constructs about the world falling apart. And so if you can approach them with, we're building a city or we want to build a research center or we're trying to do something locally, we're trying to build a hydroponic farm, can we get some help? We need some computer help. We're trying to make it automated. Where's your robotics club? Where's your solar power club or whatever? And start kind of doing things like that. I think universities are going to be easier with respect to that than companies because companies are still trying to make profits and all that other stuff, and the odds of them volunteering their time to help you are minimal at best. You might find some, yes, but still minimal. It's your colleges and your universities and your students and your PhD students and those acquiring their master's degrees and the professors. Those are going to be the ones who might have a little more time to dive into a project that you might be doing locally, or if nothing else, doing the R&D on a full-scale city. At least then you've got them thinking about it. Now, over time, what you can say is, yeah, if we do this, we'll have abundance, and oh, this will have abundance, and this will have abundance. And here's the key: you want them to eventually say to you, well, hey, if we have all this abundance, what do we need money for? Bingo. That's how you get them. In fact, that's how you should approach any person that you're talking to. Don't tell them money sucks. Tell them that you can provide abundance and let them figure out that money sucks. And now they're the ones telling it to you, and you're like, exactly. So let them have the epiphany.
Can I speak now?
Yeah, go for it.
My name is Malak. I am a Palestinian girl, 19 years old, living in Taipei, Israel. I am a coordinator for the Arabic linguistic team, and I have to share you an idea, not my idea, but let's hear what you have to say about it. Buying lands, when you said Douglas, use money to kill money. What about buying lands and building it in these lands, the Venus Project, and get a number of people living there, open-minded people who are supporting the idea, and in this way?
Yes, absolutely. That's what I'm talking about when I'm saying use money to kill money. I mean, we're gonna need, like for example, for the test city, Jacques has in mind basically a 2 to 3 square kilometer uh, plot of land where you would build this city location that would host maybe 50,000 people or so, somewhere in that ballpark. Now the math on this needs to be figured out, the details, but I'm just kind of giving you an idea. Well, we're going to need to get the land somehow. Now maybe it could be donated, or maybe it could be uh, purchased by virtue of donations from members of the project donating a couple of bucks and things of that nature to help buy that land. And then you've got to contact companies or find resources to build the city. But we need to be careful with one thing, and it's difficult for people to kind of accept this, but I'm going to throw it out there and just want you guys to think about it for a second. We cannot build little communes, little mud hut, self-sustainability, living in dirt kind of little kumbaya drum beating communes. Those are done all over the place, and most of them are laughed at. A lot of them might work on their own little scale, but they're not exactly changing the world. Okay, the whole point of the Venus Project is to show that you can use high-tech, advanced technology, robotics, computers, magnetic levitating trains, robotic cars. We're talking all the major technologies that exist. Use them in a systems integrated approach to a city system that allows everybody to live a high quality of life, not in a mud hut. And so that's where we need to be very careful. And this is why it's going to be somewhat challenging. And we've got a lot of things we're trying to work on multiple fronts to help build awareness, which will then build the donations, because we're going to need to get a boatload of money in order to pull this off, because it's not going to be cheap. But that's why it's somewhat disappointing that the individual person can't start their own commune and say, hey, look, it works, because they're not really doing what the Venus Project is talking about. They're doing what a couple of other herbo green environmentalist little communes want to do, which, as far as I'm concerned, is going the wrong direction. They're reverting to a more primitive state of living and not advancing to a larger scale of living. And it doesn't scale up at all. You got this little area, and it doesn't grow to a, oh, well, look, Seth just wrote, it doesn't scale. Yes, exactly. It doesn't scale. And so you can't really put that on a city scope. So, that's kind of where I'm coming from on getting land and stuff. Yes, we need to get money to buy these things. And then once we build our systems and we have a city place in place, we'll never need anything from anybody again, or that city won't need anything ever again. It will be self-sustaining, aside from maybe minimum maintenance costs or whatever the case may be of the cost of resources. So that's what I have. That's my answer.
Are we getting money?
Yes, I would. Some people are donating, yes, but we're not getting money on really large scales. Not yet. Hold on one second. My wife is asking me a question. I'll be right back in 5 seconds. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I would have to say, yes, we are getting money, but not a whole lot right now, which is kind of interesting. I mean, think about this. We've got, quote unquote, over 400,000 members. If everybody just donated $1, just $1, that's it. In fact, that would be the maximum. Nobody is allowed to donate more. If you donated $1, you would have $400,000. Can you imagine what we could do with $400,000? You want to talk about setting up a research facility that can really do something like that? But I think the problem is we've got a lot of people who say they're members of the Venus or the Zeitgeist movement, but they don't